Welcome, legacy builders. Come on in and let me know, as always, what are you drinking? We got to drink our tea together or whatever our beverage of choice is. So, coffee, tea, water. I usually have my water on the side and my tea. I'm going to take my sip. Good morning, Nancy. Great to see you. So, my name is Marcella Mullen Williams. I am a licensed behavioral financial advisor and a holistic, I own a holistic financial investment firm along with my business partner, Mark Mullen. And I'm the co founder of Legacy Builder Group, where we help families achieve financial certainty and create impactful, multi generational legacy wealth. That's what we're about here. So let's talk about the most important asset that you are not investing in. It's the one thing that I know people are not talking about or not talking about enough. So since Mark and I do not hear this conversation on a regular basis, and since we know how important it is, absolutely important, then I'm going to bring it back. So let's talk about it. So I could say, we're talking about the most important asset. I can easily say you, right? You are the most important asset that you are not investing in. And I'm sure most of you would agree that you need to invest more into yourself, you invest in other things. But I want to take it a little further and go a little deeper with, okay, what about you? And so recently I've been playing around with ChatGPT, right? Using it a lot more and really kind of getting my bearings around it. And I like it. I'm sure you all have been hearing a lot about AI development and ChatGPT. And let me know if it's something that you've been using for a while, if you're comfortable with, ChatGPT is your thing, that's your buddy. But I've just started using it and really playing around with it. I've been enjoying it. And it's been helping me tremendously, especially on the administrative side of my business. And so I asked Chappie, as I've heard someone refer to ChatGPT as Chappie. I asked Chappie, from a psychological perspective, why do people invest? So I put that prompt in there. Dr. Anelli, that is her buddy. I think you are the one that's really encouraged me to lean into ChatGPT. So thank you for that. That is definitely your buddy. So I put in the prompt, why do people invest from a psychological perspective? And so now I'm familiar with this aspect because of the line of work that I'm in and the research that's been done. But I was curious as to what AI had to say, So it gave me the results, and I just made note of a couple things. So it was like a paragraph. And so let me share with you what it came up with and just points from it. People invest to fulfill both emotional and rational needs. And the key areas here that I'll share with you is offering protection against financial uncertainty. It taps into the human desire for growth and progress. And it offers protection. Yes, and investing aligns with long-term planning and future-oriented thinking. So I like those. And I agree with AI. Like I said, the research shows that, as well as my experience in the industry, I've seen this. So these key points, like I said, offer protection against financial uncertainty, the human desire for growth and progress, and investing aligns with long-term planning and future-oriented thinking. Okay, so let me know if you agree with ChatGPT. I know I do. Meaning, does it hit on some of the reasons why you invest, why you purchase assets, why you do the things you do to allow your money to grow? So here's the thing: when I thought about that, financial assets alone may provide these things for you as an individual, right? We understand that money in itself is important. It's a powerful tool, right? That aligns that we can use. in order to really fulfill our purpose here, in order to impact lives. So money is important. Investing in financial assets, managing your financial assets are all important. But alone as an inheritance, it's not enough for a legacy builder. You would agree. We have these conversations, so you know this. So during the master class, Mark and I talked about financial assets. We talked about financial assets. And then we talked about intellectual assets. And if you were there, you know what I'm talking about. In this group, on Tea Time Tuesday, we often talk about intellectual assets, even though I don't use the term all the time. But we tap into intellectual assets. Tea Time Tuesday is actually an intellectual asset that you are all investing your time in for a return, for a later return. So Tea Time Tuesday is an intellectual asset. So intellectual assets, and I wanted to bring this conversation up again. I think I like to talk about this at least once a year to make sure that you all are clear and thinking and moving intentionally to build your intellectual assets. So, and what are they? What are intellectual assets? They are the values that you develop as an individual that are to be transferred to the next generation, just like a financial asset. So there are the values that you develop and to be transferred, just like you would pass on a financial inheritance. You want to be able to pass on your intellectual assets. This answers the question when it comes to building wealth. How do you pass on money that does not ruin the next generation? That's what intellectual assets is all about. How do I make sure that the family values and the principles that have created a positive impact in the lives of your generation, your friends, your family, how do I make sure that they continue for generations to come? So many individuals, names that we know of, like Anderson Cooper, who is a Vanderbilt, or Jackie Chan, or Bill Gates, individuals who have no, Warren Buffett, or individuals who have no desire to pass on their inheritance to their children because they are afraid that it will ruin their children. They are afraid that it will ruin their children. And that is an issue, because the way things are done in general now, people's lives are being destroyed simply by gaining too much money too quickly without the knowledge of what or how to handle it. We see that. I mean, again, we see that with lottery winners, so we know. So let's look at what intellectual assets are. Let's just a reminder for those who, especially for our family legacy experience cohort members, our family legacy experience family. You all have been through the intellectual assets process, and we're going through it now for cohort 2. But cohort 1 went through the process where we broke down each intellectual asset and how they can preserve it. So let's talk about knowledge is the first one. Well, let me tell you what they all are. The 4 intellectual assets are knowledge, resources, experiences, and mentality. Those are the 4 intellectual assets: knowledge, resources, experience, and mentality. So let me just briefly explain what knowledge is. Knowledge is the combination of education and information that we've learned through our lifetime that we want to pass on to the next generation and then some. So I want you to type in the chat knowledge. So I know you have the first intellectual asset, knowledge. And then the second intellectual asset, resources. Resources, which include human resources, natural resources, and capital resources. So type resources. There you go, Charlene. So the third intellectual asset that we covered are experiences. Yes. And since we understand that legacy is how others will experience your existence, then it makes it even more powerful when we understand how experiences are to be experienced. And if you've been around me enough, you know how much I love experiences and looking at it from a very deeper, in a deeper sense. Sometimes we just kind of look and have a standard form of what an experience is, and we really miss out on the most simplest, beautiful ways that someone can experience our existence and how we can experience someone else's existence. So we cover a little bit about that. And of course, in the family legacy experience, we go through it more in detail. So experiences. And the fourth intellectual asset that we covered was mentality. Yes, mentality. So drop mentality in the chat. And mentality is the mindset, the attitudes, and the mental development that we have. That's what we have. And what we need to continue to grow so that it continues to, develop, and that you can pass it down to the next generation and multiple generations. So it's a mentality that needs to grow so that it is gained by the next generation and future generation. You want them to gain the same mentality that you've been growing. And it's a beautiful thing when our mentality can grow with our kids, with our grandkids, and sharing in that together. And I love, Dr. Ranelli shared last night about her fitness. It's a mindset, and you talk about fitness, but it's a mindset journey, because it was not just about the fitness. It's about the reading. It was about the discipline, and she learned that it was her discipline, she's developing it, and how her kids are just so excited, encouraging her and cheering her on, and it's impacting their mentality. So as our mentalities are developing and growing, someone's always watching. Someone is always watching us, and we are inspiring them as we grow. And so that's the beauty of the intellectual assets that you have there. So when we bring it together in a systematic way so that they are captured and not lost, it's beautiful. Again, that's what we do through our Family Legacy Experience program. Create a systematic way to make sure that it is captured and not lost. And that's the sad part, because so many of these intellectual assets are lost from generations past. I'm sure we can think of things in our lives. We've heard from family members who said maybe they've experienced something, or something was around when they were young, and that your generation will never get to experience that. And I'm not even talking about, globally or as a world, as society, but even just within the family unit. It could be something as simple. I always have to use the family recipe example, how so many family recipes have been lost and not passed down from generation to generation. That was a beautiful reflection of the family. But even something as simple as that can make an impact, because we've also heard family recipes that have been passed down that went on to become multi-million-dollar empires. So I want you to kind of see that. That's why I use that family recipe example, because it could be lost or it could be captured and multiplied. So think of all the simplest things that we're simply not consciously thinking about, that are intellectual assets that need to be transferred. Your knowledge, your experiences, your resources, your mentality. That's the thing we have to think about. And I want to encourage you, as I wrap up here, to think broader, think bigger. So many times we dim our light, or we think that as an individual, oh, I have nothing to share. For some people, it's like, oh, well, doesn't everyone already know this. We take ourselves for granted. We take what we've learned, we take our information for granted. I have definitely done it. I'm constantly realizing things that, oh, wait a minute, it's not common knowledge. And even Tea Time Tuesday is about that for me. It's about passing on, not taking for granted that what I know, what I've learned, is not what everyone knows, and I need to share. This is a part of my legacy. So I want you to think broader, whether it's a business or not. Think about how much you have to offer the world, how much you have to offer the next generation, and boldly make plans, take steps, take action, create systems so that it is captured and not lost. Okay? Captured and not lost. So remember, it's important because your legacy depends on it. Thank you for joining me for another Tea Time Tuesday. Love you all. Remember to join me back here next Tuesday, where we will continue to develop the behavior that will what? Build our legacy. See you next time. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Bye-bye.